Some breaking news here. Top Trump advisor Peter Navarro has been sentenced to 4 months in prison and a $9,500 fine for criminal contempt of Congress after he defied a subpoena to appear before the January 6th committee. He was convicted in September on 2 counts for refusing to testify and providing documents to the House Select Committee and faced a minimum sentence of a month. Prosecutors, for their part, sought a 6-month sentence, saying that Navarro, quote, like the rioters at the Capitol, put politics, not country, first and stonewalled Congress's investigation. Navarro chose allegiance to former President Donald Trump over the rule of law. Navarro, for his part, attempted to justify his actions through broad claims of executive privilege, which were not taken well by the federal judge, who told Navarro that executive privilege isn't a, quote, magical incantation or a get-out-of-jail-free card to evade a subpoena. He continued, quote, what I find disappointing is that in all of this, even today, there's little acknowledgement of what your obligation is as an American, to cooperate with Congress, to provide them with information that they're seeking. Fine, you think it's a political hatchet job, it's domestic terrorists running the committee. They had a job to do and you made it harder. It's really that simple. You are not a victim. You are not the object of a political prosecution. You aren't. You have received every process you are due. And I gotta say, it must have felt like a bucket of cold water for a Trump ally to hear the words, you are not a victim, considering their entire MO is to wallow in perpetual victimhood to give themselves cover for committing crimes. And just one more point on Navarro's claims of executive privilege. I want to be clear here. You don't get to invoke executive privilege when you are breaking the law. Just like Donald Trump doesn't get to claim immunity on issues that don't fall within the scope of his presidency. Navarro and other Trump advisors don't get to derive the benefits of executive privilege when it is in furtherance of criminal activity. This should go without saying, but you don't get constitutional protection for committing crimes. Navarro will join another Trump ally, Steve Bannon, who in 2022 was sentenced to the same term of 4 months behind bars for himself defying a congressional subpoena from the same committee. However, the judge in Bannon's case allowed him to walk free pending appeal. Prosecutors had also sought a 6-month sentence in that case, and like Navarro, Bannon hid behind fabricated claims of executive privilege while flagrantly violating a valid congressional subpoena. But hey, law and order, or something. But let's be clear, the rot in the GOP comes from the top. Jim Jordan also defied a congressional subpoena, and now that same guy has the audacity to grandstand about the sacrosanctity of congressional subpoenas while pressuring Hunter Biden to testify for non-existent crimes as part of his years-long effort to create the optics of wrongdoing around Joe Biden. And of course, as I mentioned before, Donald Trump himself has introduced what can only generously be described as a novel legal theory in claiming that he's got carte blanche to commit crimes with impunity because apparently, despite 44 other presidents managing just fine without it, a president can't do anything in office unless he's able to commit criminal acts with impunity.
President, do you agree with your lawyers what they said on Tuesday that you should not be prosecuted or could not be prosecuted if you ordered SEAL Team 6 to kill a political opponent?
Well, you're talking about a totally different case, the immunity. I say this, on immunity, very simple. If a president of the United States does not have immunity, he'll be totally ineffective because he won't be able to do anything because it will mean he'll be prosecuted, strongly prosecuted perhaps, as soon as he leaves office by the opposing party. So a president of the United States, I'm not talking just me, I'm talking any president has to have immunity.
Because no one is above the law in this country, except apparently the one person who swears an oath to uphold and defend them. As for Navarro, his attorney has asked for his sentence to be stayed pending appeal. The judge didn't immediately rule on the stay, asking instead for more information. Navarro and his team will have a week to submit a brief on the topic, at which point the judge will make his ruling. But one thing is abundantly clear. If you want to avoid prison time or legal issues or disbarment, stay as far away from Donald Trump as humanly possible. And don't take it from me, take it from Rudy Giuliani, from Jenna Ellis, from Sidney Powell, from John Eastman, from Kenneth Chesbrough, from Jeffrey Clark, from Mark Meadows, and the list goes on and on. The Trump orbit is like a law school to federal prison pipeline. And I'll tell you what, I know that Donald Trump lost 2.9 million jobs during his presidency, but you gotta give him credit for one thing. No one has been responsible for employing more attorneys than him. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to this channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.